I made a point of mentioning that you undertook all of this while running for reelection because, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, when you won your first term, it was a bit of a squeaker. It was like 1 point or something like
It
that.
was. It
And
was.
then you go and you do this with Confederate monuments and all the stuff you were dealing with that you were just talking about. And then you win reelection by a bigger margin in the second term than you did in the first. Why do you
I
think
did.
that is?
Well, it was a tumultuous time, Jonathan. I mean, we're dealing with the pandemic, we're dealing with economic upheaval, and then we're dealing with social upheaval at the same time. And there were nights on nights of protest and unrest, and at times, a few times, that protest got a little bit out of hand. We had a lot going on here in Richmond, and when my team and I we went back and forth about what I could do. There were people on my team who said, "Mayor, I don't want you to end up in jail, or I don't want you to get arrested for removal." And so we waited to July 1 when we actually had the authority to do so. But we considered doing it before July 1 as well. And I will say, when I think about the politics of the situation, I've always been the sort of leader, Jonathan, that thought, you know what, elections be damned, let's do what's right. Let's do what's right. And as a son, as a grandchild of a grandmother who was raised in the South, my grandmother was raised in South Carolina. She was the woman who raised me, the woman I've seen as my mother figure in my entire life. I go back to asking the question, what would she do? What would she advise me to do in a moment like this? And my grandmother would say, baby, do what's right. Baby, do what's right. And that's sort of the voice that was always in my head, Jonathan, when I had to think about what move should we take right here. Do what's right. Yes, it could have cost my reelection, but at the end of the day, I could live with doing what was right versus not sitting on my hands and doing anything at all, not doing anything at all. A lot of times, I think leaders they kick the can down the road so that it's another person's issue. And for me, I'd rather take the action and pay the consequences in doing what's right instead of doing nothing at all.